How many times has God showed you something in your imagination that you thought was so wonderful? And then you took it in there to your family and your friends and you shared it with them and they shot it down. You know why they shot it down? Because they couldn't see it. You know why they didn't see it? Because God ain't show it to them. He showed it to you. God put it in your imagination. He don't put it in other people's imagination. Stop telling your visions to other people because they're not going to see it. Why you think you keep imagining opening a business? Why you keep imagining graduating, getting a better job? Why do you keep imagining buying a house? Why do you keep imagining driving a really nice car? Why do you keep imagining getting rich one day? Why do you keep imagining that? Because God is talking to you. He's showing you something that he has for you. He puts it in your imagination, man. See, God is good, man. You've got to understand how good God is. He ain't playing with you. He the real deal. He created you, and then he even showed you what he got for you. You got to start believing in your imagination. You got to start talking to him about these stuff you be seeing. But you have not because you ask not. So if you see the vision, the imagination, but you don't ask God for it, what you want him to do? He showed it to you. Faith without works is dead. So now you got to put in work. All of y'all sitting in here, you want a better life, correct? Haven't you imagined a better life? Okay, who you think he showed it to? He showed it to you. Why you think he showed it to you? Because he want to give it to you. But if you don't work, if you don't ask him for it, he cannot give it to you because he created us with the power of choice. We make choices every day. If you decide that you will be poor, there's nothing I can do. You're going to be poor. If you decide to be rich today, who going to stop you? Who? If you decide you want to be rich, all you got to do is start. Why not? Who gonna stop you? Unless you tell it to the wrong person. Mama, listen to me. I'm going to be rich. Anybody rich in this family? Go in there and sit down somewhere. Get yourself a good job. Oh, mama, you must be right. No, mama could be wrong. Because what you have in your imagination, God didn't show it to your mama. I'm sorry. He showed it to you. Listen to me. If y'all don't do nothing else, write everything you imagine down. Write it all down. Pray about it and watch what happens. Watch what happens. Because let me tell you something. If God can fix me, you have no idea who you're looking at. You have no idea what I've done. You have no idea what I've been through. You wouldn't even talk to me if you knew what I had to do to be here. But God is in the forgiving business. God is in the get your life together business. God is in the turn it around business. God is in the saving business. God did all that for me. So I'm telling you right now, if God can fix Steve Harvey and turn him into this, I bet he can turn you into that. All right, thank you.
One skill you want to master in this day and age that we live in, if you want to have an extraordinary life, it's the ability to learn rapidly. Because today, there is more opportunity to do more things, learn things, create things, experience things than any time in human history. But most people are way, way, way behind the times unless they grew up with technology and learning. So I would like to start this morning by showing you the strategy for learning. What is learning? So if we take a human being, and this will be a drawing of a human being so you can see that again I majored in art. Magnificent, isn't it? So if we take a human being, and we want to be able to have them learn something. What is learning? Well, learning is the creation of, and here's the key word, of a relationship. Whenever you learn something, all you're really doing is creating a relationship between two things. So if I want to learn something, say, how do I learn this? It's not figuring things out. That's how most of us think of learning. Learning is not figuring things out. Learning is the creation of a relationship between two things. Something you already know, the known. Something you already know, it's in your head already, you understand it. And a relationship between the known and the, what would you guess? The unknown. Because the minute you link something you understand to something you don't understand, you now understand what you didn't understand. We get stuck with a belief of how we're not supposed to be, what we're not supposed to do, what people won't accept, what we're not capable of. Or maybe we get stuck in an emotional pattern of just being pissed off or frustrated or worried or sad or overwhelmed. Sometimes we get stuck, not so much in anything, but some habits of doing things a certain way. And what a breakthrough simply is that moment in time where there's an opening. And the opening can come from a conversation. It can come from meeting somebody that inspires you. It can come from an insight. It can come from watching a movie and being moved emotionally at just that right moment. It usually comes because something kind of clicked inside of us. Something snapped us. It made us look at life through a different filter, in a different way. And it's a real breakthrough because you take that little insight, that little distinction, that little moment, or maybe that little or big emotion inside of you that says, no more, I'm going to change this. And suddenly you do something to make your life better. You break out of the impossibility of life has to be this way or life is controlling me, and you start to take back control of your life. You start to make the shift that creates the quality of life that you really deserve. This morning, I want to share with you strategies, but I'll do it by using more of a known. So why don't you write down strategies real quickly as the definition was given to us when I was learning. A strategy is a set of neurological impulses organized into a specific syntax which shapes emotional, biochemical, behavioral responses to such an extent that the stimulus response is consistent. That's how they described us what strategies were. And so we were lost about halfway through the third sentence. And so what happens is when you can't figure it out, then you go in your head, I can't figure it out, what does he mean, what's going on? And then you're gone because you get out of state of being able to learn. So that's why I took 4.5 days. So I'll give you a simpler definition. A strategy is nothing but a specific way of organizing your resources. It's a specific, underline specific, it's very important, it's a specific, it isn't general, a very specific way of organizing your resources in order to, keyword, consistently get a very specific result. So it's a specific way of organizing your resources in order to consistently, not once in a while, consistently get the result you want. Now, what is a resource? Well, it depends on the environment you're using a strategy in. Is time a resource, yes or no? For getting the results you want in your life, yes or no? Is human emotion a resource? Yes, if you use anger, are you going to get different results than if you use joy? Is your physiology a resource for creating that emotion, yes or no? What about the pictures you make in your head? Is that a resource? Is what you say a resource? Words a resource, yes or no? Sure. So there's unlimited resources, but the way you organize those resources determine whether you're broke or rich. Your time, your mental focus, your attitude, the way you work or don't work, where you spend money or don't spend money. See, it's not can you be rich or poor, it's just strategy. The problem is most people are unaware of what their strategy is. Most people have an excellent strategy for having too much month at the end of the money. Excellent strategy, and it's very effective, and it consistently produces that result, doesn't it? How many have ever mastered that strategy in your past? Say aye. I also get people when they're having a tough time, because that's when people get driven to do something, when it gets bad enough, when they go through a real tough time, and I gotta help them to shift. And the first place I have to start was with the energy, because inevitably when somebody's stuck, if you've ever been stuck, what's your energy like? High or low? Show me, guys, high or low, which one? You know damn well it's low. So where do we get that energy, that habit? We use our body, we use our voice. So for example, 44 years I've been turning athletes around, business people around, the Serena Williams of the world, the Conor McGregors, right? The Pitbull, all the people around the world I get to work with from every walk of life, entertainment, business, sports, finance. And in every case, I start with the body. One woman just decided, you know what? You can't take my dignity from me. I can only give that up, and I don't choose to give it up. And I will not go back to the bus. The answer is no. Rosa Parks changed an entire society because that day she chose to focus on something else. She gave it a different meaning. This is not a command. You do not have control over me. And she decided to fight. And she changed the direction of a country and of many other countries. She started something. We forget that you don't have to be famous to have the ability to change at least your own personal history, to change the direction we go in our life. We have the power to choose, even if you haven't before. You can finally say, no more, I won't put up with that, within myself or from anybody else. And here's what I'm going to do differently. That's where the breakthroughs really start to happen. Now the question is, why do some people stand their ground and make something change versus other people just kind of accept things? Why do some people make bold decisions and other people make decisions that are based on trying to hang on to what they've got? Well, that's a more complex question to answer than we might have in a few minutes in this one session, but it is one that I've spent my life studying, because when you can change your decisions, you can change your life. When you can change the force that controls your decisions, you can change anything in your life.
We find ourselves announcing our standards to our relatives, our friends, our associates. We shout our beliefs and condemn those who believe any differently, but then we don't walk the talk. We end up acting in a way far different from the beliefs we've shouted. We tell our kids that the TV is rotting their minds, yet we spend our evenings in front of it. We tell our employees that they must take advantage of every minute of the working day, yet we spend 3 hours at lunch. Do as I say, not as I do. This is inconsistent. This leads to a loss of credibility among those who watch us. And more importantly, this leads to a loss of credibility within ourselves. The only thing worse than one who is inconsistent in applying their self-imposed disciplines is one who has never considered the need or the value of discipline at all. These people seem to wander aimlessly, changing procedures, changing standards, changing loyalties, and shifting frequently from one commitment to another, leaving behind a trail of broken friendships, unfinished projects, and unfulfilled promises, all because of a discipline that was either non-existent or imposed so infrequently that it was ineffective. Here's the third step to becoming consistently self-disciplined. Number 1 is realizing that discipline isn't the easiest option. Number 2, discipline is a full-time activity, day by day, every day. And the third step to becoming self-disciplined is really a philosophy that holds one of life's unique promises. Number 3 simply says, for every disciplined effort, there is a multiple reward. That's one of life's great arrangements. It's like the law of sowing and reaping. In fact, it's an extension of the biblical law that says if you sow well, you reap well.
How do you keep going? Why do you keep going? There's two sides of pain. There's one side of pain that's the suffering and the discomfort side of pain. Then there's another side of pain. That's called effort. It's called glory. It's called if you can find a way to push through pain, there's something greater on the other side of it.
Because the only one that is stopping you is you.
I need you to take control over every single area, and then someday gonna be your day.
Excuses are for weak people. If you're gonna make it happen, get your ass up and get to work.
So in the future, you look back at these struggles and you say to them, thank you. You made me